This Miami Heat team has absolutely nothing to worry about. After winning the last 3 preseason games and with one remaining tomorrow night against the Memphis Grizzlies, it seems like this Miami Heat team is going to be rolling into the NBA season for Game 1 of 82 on the 23rd of October, just 6 days away. I can't wait for it. I'm here to break down why they should be rolling going into this season on this episode of Heat Digest. So a dominant Miami Heat team. Why is this team, or is this team actually going to be dominant? I think they have a great opportunity to do so. And the reason being is because of one very significant thing happening on the offensive end, as well as the entirety of the defensive end for this Miami Heat team. Now, if you haven't been watching preseason basketball, I don't blame you. It's preseason basketball. We can't win any championships. We can't win any significant games in the preseason. There's no way around it. That's why we only play 5 preseason games. But again, it's just to get our footing right. It's just to get everyone acclimated to game speed against other competitive teams, not against obviously the teams and players that you play against every single day, because you're on the same roster. So obviously we lose game 1 to the Charlotte Hornets in Charlotte, 111 to 108, which is not great, but then we proceed to win the next 3 games. In the last 2 games, we have won over the Hawks and the Spurs. We have scored 120 points in both of those games, something we do not see from this Miami Heat team. Obviously, again, take it with a grain of salt because it is the NBA preseason, so I don't know if we'll see the offensive production against some other teams in the NBA like we do during the preseason. But again, the capabilities are there with the offensive weapons that we have on this roster. But the thing that is standing out amongst everything, regardless of whether or not we are winning and losing these games, is the defense and the ball movement. Obviously, they're coming on different sides of the floor, so we're going to break down one and then the other. We're going to start with the team stats, and we're going to start with the defense. And when we look at the defense, if you look at the steals numbers, we had 15 steals in this game with 2 blocks. Now, we're going to quickly jump around from different stat sheet to different stat sheet just to highlight the last 3 games for this Miami Heat team. Obviously, the last game before last night's game against the Atlanta Hawks, we played the San Antonio Spurs, where again we scored 120 points. We won 120 to 117 over the San Antonio Spurs team. And again, it was the defense. If you look at the steals numbers again, 15 steals to 7 steals for the San Antonio Spurs, as well as 6 blocks to their 2 blocks. Now, not only are we causing a bunch of turnovers with an elite level defense, as well as blocking shots around the rim and really altering more than we're getting credit for, but also we're not turning the ball over to such a high degree like we did last season, which is going to be a massive benefit to keep the ball in the Miami Heat's hands, which is exactly what we want to see. Then we played the New Orleans Pelicans. If you look at the stat sheet once again, look at the steals. 15 steals for Miami to 8 for the New Orleans Pelicans. I will say we got abused in the block column here. New Orleans had 11 blocks. Missy had 4 of them off the bench himself. The Miami Heat only had 1. But again, we move on to finally the Charlotte Hornet game, where we did have 15 steals once again. Yes, that is 4 consecutive games in the preseason with the Miami Heat team having 15 or more steals. In this case, it was 15 flat in all 4 of those games. But again, that is fantastic. It's showing the energy. It's showing it's not just one player buying in on the defensive end. It is a collective unit amongst the entire Miami Heat organization and really the entire team on the floor to buy in on the defensive end. And obviously, the defense didn't end there. Against Charlotte, we did have 11 blocks to their 7. So overall, the defense is absolutely phenomenal. And if you look just under the blocks column, you see the total turnovers. Again, 15 to 23, the Miami Heat winning that turnover battle by 8. Absolutely phenomenal. Exactly what we want to see here. And again, if we really tally off of that and go into the assist records here, we won the first battle 29 to 19, and once again winning the turnover battle. So not only are we winning the turnover battle, we are also moving the basketball at a very, very effective rate. And again, we're not turning it over, so our assist to turnover ratio is down compared to these other teams that we're causing turnovers against. This is just going to be a winning formula. So again, an elite level defense with an elite level offense, in the sense that we might not score 115 to 120 points per game, but you're not going to score more than 105 to 108 points per game on us night in and night out, because we simply are a better defense than you have offense. And when our offense is clicking and we don't go stagnant and we can get out in transition and run off of those caused turnovers and those steals and those long runouts due to blocks, we are going to be able to score effectively and efficiently time in and time down the floor, and you're not even going to have the time to set your defense because we're just going to be running a track race, and no one's going to be able to keep up with us. We'll move on from the Pelicans game, or to the Pelicans game, I should say. We already covered the blocks and the steals. Now we're looking at the assists. We had 26 assists to their 19, and again, if you look at the total turnovers, 24 for New Orleans, 17 for the Miami Heat. This is a winning formula, and there's no way around it. If it translates into the NBA season, it is going to produce wins on wins on wins, and I can't wait for this Miami Heat team to really start playing competitive games. Now, I'm going to quickly go over the Spurs and last night's game to quickly get through the rest of this idea. But again, the assist category, 28 in favor of the Spurs to 31 in favor for the Miami Heat against the total turnovers. 21 turnovers for the Spurs to 9 for the Miami Heat. It is getting more and more drastic as time gets closer to the NBA season. Then obviously last night's game, we did have how many assists? We had 34 assists to the Atlanta Hawks, 28. And then for total turnovers, we had 20 to the Atlanta Hawks, 22. Again, we have won every single one of those matchups through all 4 games. And even in the game we did lose to the Charlotte Hornets, I almost said the Atlanta Hawks, to the Charlotte Hornets, that we did lose by a 1-possession game, a 3-point game, 111 to 108. So again, there is a formula here, and we're seeing winning results 3 out of 4 times. That is an effective formula, and it's something the Miami Heat should get behind and continue to ride. I can't wait to watch us play the Memphis Grizzlies for our 5th and final preseason game tomorrow night, not in 2 days, tomorrow night on October 18th. And again, I want to see them do more of this. I think the biggest real problem this Miami Heat team may have is going to be the rebounding problem. If we go back and we look at some of these rebounding differentials, obviously we tied with the Pelicans, which is always good to see. We got our ass handed on by the San Antonio Spurs on the boards, 50 to 36. That is not great. But again, 47 to 38, we did win last night's rebounding battle against the Hawks, thank God. But again, Charlotte Hornets beat us by 13 on the boards. We tied with the Pelicans, like we said. We lost by 14 on the boards to the Spurs. Things like this are not going to get it done when we play elite-level teams in the regular season and when the games start to matter significantly. If we're giving up a lot of offensive rebounds and just getting beat on the boards, or whether it be offensively or defensively, we are probably going to be in either a close or a losing game for this Miami Heat team. So we have to correct the rebounding problem. But as of now, the defense and obviously the ability to move the basketball efficiently and really resulting in assist, which is good basketball, is working and translating very, very well for this Miami Heat team. And I can't wait to watch it really translate throughout the entirety of next season. Now, I'm going to quickly break down the box score. Obviously, we're not going to go through the entire thing as it is still a preseason game and we're playing 18 guys a night, which I love to see because Josh Christopher, Pella Larson, Keyshawn Johnson, Thomas Bryant, Khalil Ware, all these guys are playing the minutes they're getting. It may not be a lot of minutes because a lot of those minutes are going to the starters who the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra really want to find acclimated and get into a rhythm before this NBA season starts. But again, they're getting minutes, they're taking advantage of them, and they're playing well. They're trying to showcase their talent. Shout out to Hayward Highsmith, who played very, very well last night. Caught a few lobs, which is I always love to see. But shout out to Jimmy Butler. We got an aggressive Jimmy Butler last night, and he was damn efficient. 8 of 11 from the field, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. No surprise there because he gets to the free throw line so often. 2 of 2 from behind the three-point line. Added 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists with 3 steals. He was absolutely phenomenal. Only had 1 turnover in the 21 minutes he played. But again, the leader on the offensive end outside of Tyler Hero, who shot 7 of 12 from the field. And there's something I have to say about Tyler Hero before. Actually, I'll read the rest of his stats and then we'll break down the way he's been playing. He added 19 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds with 1 steal. Again, shooting 7 of 12 from the field and 3 of 7 from behind the three-point line and 2 of 2 from at the free throw line. I will say as a big highlight here, you do see the 3 of 7 from behind the three-point line. But again, he did shoot 5 other shots that were not three-point shots. And again, those were him slicing to the basket, being a slasher in a way. putting his head down, putting the ball on the ground, and then getting to the basket very tough and scoring the basketball. Again, he did have one steal last night, and he was very active on the defensive end, being very good on the making sure his head is always seeing ball and man, not getting lost on the defensive end, being able to move correctly in that shell rotation for this Miami Heat team, being able to come help side, pick balls away, poke them loose, and cause a fast break. Tyler Herro's been playing very, very well this year, and I think him and Rozier are going to be really the biggest turning points for this Miami Heat team, in the sense that if they buy in on the defensive end, and not only, they don't have to give us 2 steals and 2 blocks a game. We don't need the statistical production on the box score, but if you just make the effort and you rotate and you move at a quick pace and show the energy and the life behind wanting to play the defense, this Miami Heat team is going to be so drastically good compared to last year and years prior. It is going to make people in the NBA space, make their heads spin. And I'm serious about this. They are going to be so good at the game of basketball, and they could only score 100 points a game, and we could still win 45 to 55 games a year. And again, that's under the idea of not scoring 100 points a game, because they're not going to give up 100 points a night. They might be right around that number, 100 to 105. But again, that is a very, very, very low scoring offense that would be competing against this Miami Heat team night in and night out compared to what we normally see. The Pacers are probably going to score 130 points a game this year. We saw it last year. That was the number 1 offense in the league. Boston was right there with them. Again, they did have a little bit more of a defense than Indiana, but again, these offenses are going to be so high-powered when you throw a wrench in their system and they can only score 100, 105, 108 points per game. They are going to be shell-shocked. And when they have a team that's scoring 110 to 115 on them with that elite-level defense, things are going to pick up rapidly for these teams trying to compete with the Miami Heat. So once again, we've played 4 preseason games, and again, we have looked damn good up to this point, and I can't wait to see us play tomorrow night against the Memphis Grizzlies. I think things are really going to translate for this Miami Heat team. I think we're really going to get the ball rolling, and because of that, we're going to go into Game 1 of 82 with a massive win over a division rival and an in-conference rival in the Orlando Magic. That is it for this episode of Heat Digest. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this Miami Heat team and the formula they're using to win on this down in the comments, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest.